basically a mailbag, but questions I have,
Hey,
like rather than like asking other people, because that's a whole different thing. Mailbags. Listen, I'm trying my best here to come up with off-season content for all you, and this is what I came up with for today, and hopefully the next few Wednesdays. All right, so it's proposing some hypothetical scenarios. I tried to have some positives and negatives in here, so it's not all just like, well, what if Jamie Drysdale sucks? What if, yes, that is the first one. But there are some positive ones too. So bear with us. But the first one I want to get to here, Charlie, it's a two-parter. The first part of it is, what if Jamie Drysdale isn't impressive?
Okay.
What do you think that means for this season? And what do you think that means in terms of team planning going forward? Now, this could be he misses a bunch of time again, or when he's out there, it's like, yeah, he's fast and he can move the puck sometimes, but he's not even Shane Gostisbehere light. He's just a third pair defenseman with some speed.
What I will say is that I don't necessarily think it's going to dramatically change the Flyers' view of him, because the people I've talked to, both on and off the record in the Flyers organization, very much view the Drysdale project as a long-term project.
This is a more than they set and forget kind of issue for them.
They do not think this is going to be a we brought Sean Walker in, and after one camp, he was awesome. They do not think that's going to be the case. They do not necessarily even think he's going to be awesome by the end of this season. They do want him to make progress. They want him to look better. They want him to be showing flashes, and they want him behind closed doors to be grasping concepts and to be taking instruction well and things like that. But there is a scenario where Jamie Drysdale's numbers don't look that great next year, and you still talk to the Flyer, Danny Briere and Keith Jones and everybody on the record, and then I'll talk to people off the record, and you'll still hear that we're still, bullish on his upside. We still think he's very good. Now, there's an element of this from the flip side where you're like, you might be too close to the situation. You're so high on what this guy could be that you're not seeing what's right in front of your face, and then he's actually not that good. For me, if he has an underwhelming season again, whether it's because he spends the year injured or whether it's because he's still putting up god-awful underlying 5-on-5 metrics, nor is he scoring a lot on the power play, it's going to increase the degree of urgency that I will be writing about in terms of them finding a solution on the back end. Because right now, they think Jamie Drysdale can be an impact player on the back end. Do they think he can be a do-it-all number one in the Miro Heiskanen mold? Nah, I don't think so. I think, it's a plausible outcome, but we're talking 3-4 percentage points of possibility. It's not likely. He's an offensively oriented defenseman who isn't that big. The chances of him becoming Cale Makar are pretty slim.
Low.
Where he's so good at all those things that it doesn't matter that sometimes he gets pushed out of the front of the net occasionally. I don't think he's going to be that good. But they think he can be an impact guy. If he has another underwhelming season by the numbers and overall by the eye test, I personally will be like, yeah, maybe they should, maybe with one of those three first round picks, maybe you prioritize a high-end defenseman. Maybe not with that first pick, but maybe with the second one or third one, because you might need more help back there than you think. For them, though, I'm not sure if they change their tune dramatically, because they view the Drysdale reclamation project to be a 2 to 3 year project rather than one that's going to bear fruit immediately.
That's very interesting to think about. And I know that they've said all along, we don't think he was developed properly. So
they don't. They very much don't.
Therefore, they were basically starting from scratch with him. He was, even though he'd had, a full season and parts of a few other seasons in the league, it was he is a prospect in our eyes. So maybe that's the way it goes. I don't know if it'll really, I do think it changes in my mind what they need. Just in terms of...
That's my view, too. It changes in my mind what I would think they need.
While, again, I don't think he's ever going to be a Cale Makar. You do need defensemen who generate considerable offense. Mm-hmm. Now, if he is good on the power play and it's just okay, we can figure out the rest. My idea is long-term, they have a really good blue line, and Hunter McDonald and Jamie Drysdale are together on that third pair, and he can play some power play. Cool. But you need some defensemen, at least one guy in your top four, who generates some pretty high-end offense. They don't have that guy. They could draft him. It could still be coming. But of what they have right now, that high-end offense in your top 4 doesn't exist. I need him to be that. And if he can't be, that very much changes. Like, yeah, we need centers, but I need one defenseman who can do that thing. And hopefully he's it. If he has another less than impressive year, it's like this might move up to priority number 1 for me.
I would agree. I wouldn't say it would move up to priority 1, but it would definitely move up my personal priority list. I think the best way for me to explain where my mindset would change is when I was doing all my draft research for this past draft, and I did a ton, I had a full ranking and everything. I ranked Zane Parekh pretty low in that top tier. Not because I didn't like him. Like, I had some concerns about him. He's very inconsistent in a lot of ways, particularly in terms of his defensive effort, and that worried me. But if I was covering a team that had different needs, I might have put him 3 or 4 places higher than I did. But my viewpoint was,
this is what we want Drysdale
drafting
to be.
You're drafting Parekh to do what you already think Drysdale is going to become. I don't think there's room for 2 of those guys with nearly identical theoretical skill sets on the same blue line. However, if Drysdale has another underwhelming season, now I haven't done enough research to know if there even is a Parekh type in this draft. Maybe if there is one, he's yet to have his breakout, and he's going to have it in his draft year, and then he's going to soar up the rankings. But if there is a Parekh type in next year's draft, I will be significantly more open to the idea of taking him with a high pick, because I'm no longer thinking, well, how do Drysdale and this guy function on the same blue line? Because I might be thinking Jamie Drysdale might not be on the blue line when the Flyers are good.
We all silly like the mayor.